Hi, I'm Professor JGroth, your economics instructor, and I'm here to give you a short review over Chapter 3, Section 1, Comparative Advantage and Absolute Advantage. That seems to be a section that a lot of my students have problems with, so we're going to go over it hopefully before you take your test. And want to start with the definition of comparative advantage. Comparative advantage means that an entity, which can be a person, a country, a county, a state, a business, has the ability to produce a good or service at a lower opportunity cost than any other producer. So by the definition, you should understand that the comparative advantage, when you see a problem that has that phrase in it, you're going to have to calculate the opportunity cost for the products in the information that's given. And then the other definition is the absolute advantage means that an entity can produce more of a good or service than any other producer. So the key word here is more. So absolutely more is what I tell my students to remember, absolutely more. So we're going to do the easy one first for this example. This example is for widgets and gadgets for Utopia and Nirvana. And again, the absolute advantage, when you get your test, you should write these down. Absolute advantage means more. And again, that's the easy one, so we're going to start off with that one. And we're going to look at widgets. And we're going to look at which country, this is a country called Utopia and one called Nirvana. And there's something else I want to say really quick before we get started. You have to understand that when you read this, this means that in 1 unit of time, whether it's an hour, a day, a week, a year, this is what Utopia and Nirvana can produce in the form of widgets and gadgets. So it's the same unit of time for both country, or if there's 4 or 5 countries, then for both countries or all of the countries, it's the same unit of time. Same unit of time. And it means that Utopia can produce 1,000 widgets and 1,000 gadgets in that unit of time. Similarly, Nirvana can produce 500 widgets and 500 gadgets in that unit of time. So back to the question, which country has the absolute advantage? And again, that means more. Who can produce more widgets? Well, Utopia has 1,000, Nirvana has 500, more is 1,000. So we're going to write down here that Utopia in widgets, and I'm going to let you be looking at that and thinking who has the absolute advantage in gadgets. Again, we go to the gadgets column, we look down that column, we find the larger number, and that larger number is 1,000. So Utopia also has the absolute advantage in gadgets. Okay, that should be easy. And when you get your test and you're looking at these questions, that's what you should write down, because then you can answer any question about this chart that should arise. Now the next one is one that takes a little bit of math, not too much, it's not that bad, and that is to find the comparative advantage. The key word in comparative advantage again was the lower opportunity cost. So you're going to have to calculate the opportunity cost, and I'm going to change markers because green doesn't show up very well, I don't think. We're going to do opportunity cost, and I'm going to write OC right there. And I taught math for many years before I got into economics, and I didn't have anyone explain to me how to find opportunity costs, so I went back to my junior high math, and I understand it this way, which is going to be different than the way that the professionals do in my math lab and mastering in my econ lab. There are videos available under multimedia that review each section, and he does it a little bit differently than I do. But this, if you've had math recently, you should be able to understand this. The opportunity cost for Utopia for one widget is what you're going to have to write down is that for Utopia, there is a ratio of 1,000 widgets to, and math, we know we write it like that, to 1,000 gadgets. That's the ratio of what they can produce per day. It's 1,000 widgets per 1,000 gadgets. And so you can write that as 1,000 over 1,000. And what you want to know is what is the opportunity cost for one widget. So you're going to have to reduce this 1,000 to 1. You divide by 1,000, divide this other one by 1,000, and you end up with a 1-to-1 ratio. So that for every widget, the extra widget that they would like to make, they have to give up one gadget. So the opportunity cost for Utopia for widgets is 1. 1 widget to 1 gadget. So it's 1. And I think that without going through the math, you can see that if you start the other way around, if you just change this for gadgets, made a new word, gadgets. For gadgets, if you have 1,000 gadgets to 1,000 widgets, you're again wanting to know what is the ratio when you have one gadget. You'd have to divide by 1,000, divide this one by 1,000. Again, you get that 1-to-1 ratio, and that's the opportunity cost for one gadget is one widget in Utopia. And for Nirvana, we're going to look at the opportunity cost. It's going to be different. We're going to look at Nirvana, and we want to know what the opportunity cost for one widget is, but we start out with 500 widgets to 250 gadgets. And again, we want to know what the opportunity cost for one widget is, so we divide by 500, divide by 500, 1 widget's opportunity cost is 250, divide by 10, then divide by 5, or divide by 25. It's 25 cents out of 50, that's a half. So one widget, the opportunity cost for one widget is, opportunity cost for one widget is 1/2 of a gadget. So here, the Nirvana's opportunity cost for widgets is 1/2 of a gadget. And do the math again. This time we're going to start with 250 on this side and 500 over here. No, sorry. We're going to stand 500 over here. This is gadgets. We're going to divide by 250, divide by 250, and that's going to be 2. If we want to make one more gadget, we're going to have to give up 2 widgets. So the opportunity cost, this is how you read this, the opportunity cost for one gadget in Utopia is 1 widget. The opportunity cost for one gadget in Nirvana is 2 widgets. Okay, so this is 2 widgets. This is widgets. Because we're finding the opportunity cost for one widget. This is going to be 1 gadget. All right, so now you are ready for any question they throw at you. If they want to know who has, or what is the opportunity cost for widgets in Utopia, there's your multiple choice question, bam, there's the answer. If you want to know the opportunity cost of gadgets in Nirvana, one gadget is equal to 2 widgets. In Nirvana, it's right there in your chart already. The other thing that they'll ask you is who has the opportunity cost for widgets, the lower opportunity cost, which is the comparative advantage. Let me write that down, get rid of the red. The comparative advantage means the smaller opportunity cost. Smaller. The other one was larger or most. This one is the smaller opportunity cost. So we're looking under widgets, who has the smaller opportunity cost? Where's the smaller number? Right there. So Nirvana has the comparative advantage in widgets. Who has the comparative advantage in gadgets? You look for the smaller number. The smaller number is 1. So 1 widget versus 2 widgets. So the comparative advantage in gadgets goes to Utopia. I'm getting close to the bottom of the board. Can't write so good anymore. But anyway, if you have any questions about how to do this, you can call 432-935-9755 or text me, and we can Skype or we can FaceTime if you need a little bit more of an explanation. Again, that number is 432-935-9755. Till the next time.